important takeaways. So yesterday we had a Ohio vote, like people were able to vote on specific legal issues. Right to abortion won, yes.
56.6%.
Yep, and the abortion issue thus far on states that have voted is 7 for 7 in favor of abortion, which is big because obviously, like, you had Roe v. Wade turned over, but it appears as though the people do not agree with this. Like, the people are voting in favor of abortion, and as I'll get into, this has been a issue that has appeared to totally kind of not be in favor of people voting for Republicans. People seem to be really in favor of the right of abortion, and it's causing Republicans to lose out severely. They got kind of upset in the midterms. They did very poorly yesterday, and the next article will talk about that a little bit. So, second issue, legalize marijuana. Yes, they voted it. I think they're like the 20 or close, somewhere around 20th state to legalize marijuana.
More. I think they're like 25 or 26.
25. So yeah,
somewhere around there.
So then Kentucky, huge upset in a state that is, predominantly conservative, Republican. A Democrat governor gets appointed, gets elected, and there's some more on that. So first, I just want, I'll show
Andy Bashir. How do you say it? Bashir?
Yeah, I think so. Bashir.
Andy Bashir winning over Cameron by a pretty significant margin, I'd say. Well, that's about 5%.
Yeah, pretty close though. Mississippi governor, Republican wins out, but still pretty close.
Yeah, for Mississippi. I'm surprised that Mississippi has had the Republican candidate win over Kentucky. I'd feel like it would be the opposite.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Pennsylvania Supreme Court. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so you had a Democrat win there. I mean, they're a big swing state. And then what was really big, Virginia lost the state. They have a Republican governor, and the Democrats won the state legislature, which was pretty bad because it's also, I guess, a predominantly Republican state. So that was pretty bad. So so you had two Ohio elections on specific
topics. Issues. Yeah,
Kentucky governor, Mississippi governor. And
Supreme
then
Court for Pennsylvania, Virginia state legislature. Since they flipped the state legislature, I feel like this will cause some issues and some clashing between policy implementation, because you're going to have some back and forth between the two. And I hate all this political infighting. I feel like if there's topics that bipartisan agreement, I'm very pro bipartisan policy, because that means we can get stuff done and we don't have to fight, and I just think that we need to focus on, as a country, we need to focus on collaborating and finding that middle ground. I feel like it's so polarizing that there's an issue and you have to take a Republican or Democratic stance on it. And I feel like even more so recently, if you don't take a Democratic stance, you're labeled as a far right Republican. It's just this whole back and forth.
I think it's the other way too, right?
And if you don't take a stance on with the Republicans on certain topics, you're seen as a far left extreme. It's extremely polarizing, and it's extremely nuanced. And I just feel like there needs to be a little bit more collusion and collaboration rather than infighting. So
totally. And so the importance of these races is that it shows broader kind of trends, especially as we come into the presidential election, which is a year out. So if you could pull up the next article.
Pull up the next article here. CNN for, okay. Is it the CNN article?
Yeah.
All right, here, let me.
So this just sort of shows kind of trends and, the significance of these races. So if you scroll down, you have, so right here, top Senate Republican Tom Tillis says that it's about messaging. We've got to do a better job. Yesterday was a complete failure. So poor voter turnout. he said, these aren't races Democrats won, but Republicans lost. It's the same way we didn't show up in Georgia in 2020.
So the overall election turnout was low compared to previous years. And so
I think that, yeah, I believe so. And then, so if you scroll down to the next sort of point, keep going. So Romney, Mitt Romney tells GOP to avoid social issues in 2024 after another election loss. So
Republican candidates in 2024 should focus on the economy and steer clear of social issues after last night's disappointing results. I think we perform best when we talk to people about the cost of living and the fact that under President Biden, the cost of living has gone way up. Their incomes have not gone up with it. When we're talking about people's lives, we win. I mean, that's in essence, that's true. And I believe the statistics show that Democrats are better off than Republicans. So there might be a little bit of like a class kind of narrative, clashing of the classes narrative. Republicans are more upset about the economy, and rightly so, because if they are lower income, lower wealth compared to their Democratic counterparties, they're going to want those topics addressed more so than social issues, which are equally as important. However, they are more nuanced in their approach and more polarizing, I'd say, because I feel like the economy affects everybody. But I feel like, and I think a lot of people understand that, you know, if you are better off, you directly benefit off of the economy that we've been seeing, because, you know, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer and the middle class gets squeezed. You know, it's the tale as old as time. Yeah,
and to your point, Romney continued to say, when we're talking about social issues, they can be highly divisive, and we end up not doing as well as we could have. So
yes, that's right. Yeah, okay. I didn't even read that. I just kind of
No doubt, abortion will be a key issue next year. No, each can describe our personal views and what we want to do on issues of significance, but he emphasized the economy. So, and scroll down to the next sort of point. So then Trump blames the Republican kind of governor's loss on Mitch McConnell. He says he lost.
Not gonna lie, Trump looks extra orange in this photo.
He does look real orange. Daniel Cameron lost because he couldn't alleviate the stench of Mitch McConnell. I told him earlier there's a big burden to overcome. McConnell and Romney are kryptonite for Republican candidates.
Yeah.
Posted on Truth Social.
I believe I'm a big proponent that, or I'm a big believer in the idea that McConnell and Romney are just rhinos, and they're very elitist in their approach to politics. They very much want to maintain control on the levers of power, and especially after like that Mitch McConnell like, what, did he have a seizure or whatever?
Or some shit.
Yeah, like especially like after that, like he's just too old. I feel like we need to get some new heads in politics. We need to get some younger, more what's the word? More astute politicians that will really fight the nitty-gritty details of the economy and of social issues, rather than just kind of like freeze up and play this charade of just, you know, the politics charade. And I feel like if I were to meet with some of these high-ranking officials, senators, whatever, they say one thing to the country, and then behind closed doors, they say something completely different. I just want to go and meet with everybody and just see really how much of it is just one big joke, and they just really just put it on as just, you know, smoke and mirrors, is that the saying or whatever? Yeah, but
interesting. So, and then the kind of last thing here I thought was interesting. This geographic shift may have decided last night's elections. So the biggest question in the elections was whether Democrats can maintain their advantages in the nation's biggest population centers despite all the headwinds what's that say?
Buffeting. Warren buffeting the party.
Warren buffeting the party. Geographic polarization has been one of the most powerful trends in American politics for the last 2 decades, with Democrats gaining ground in the most populous areas and Republicans growing stronger in the smaller places.
I feel like that's always been the case, though. You know,
I don't know, because if you think like FDR, who was a Democrat, like,
oh yeah, in today's world, he'd be a Republican, or same with JFK.
Really?
Actually, no, not maybe not.
He was like
FDR.
the people in the.
I just think that in general, all of American politics has shifted very much so to the left in the past 50 to 70 years. Even on Republican side, like I feel like a lot of Republicans were very like anti-marijuana, and now a lot of them are pro-marijuana, or at least they want to leave it up to the states to decide that. But yeah.
And then, I think scroll down. I don't know if there's one more thing on the Virginia legislature, but yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much it. So it just is pretty interesting for the, just broader trends. Shows that Republicans aren't doing great on the abortion issue, and they kind of messed up. They kind of got upset in the midterms. Got upset yesterday. So it's pretty interesting to see looking forward, and. Yeah, so that's the politics for the day.